we are speaking with someone from a very unique and inspiring global company. From Zoho Corporation to its IT division Manage Engine, the journey has been all about steady growth and strong values across the world. I'm happy to welcome Mr. Arun Kumar, Vice President Revenue Operations at Manage Engine Zoho Corp, to our Editorial Edge show. Welcome, Arun. It's great to have you with us.
Oh, it's absolutely a pleasure. Thanks, Barsha. Very good afternoon. Happy to be part of this conversation.
Now, my first question to you, it is on Editorial Aid's behalf and also on behalf of our viewers who are very much interested in Zoho, I know. So my first question, Zoho has stayed independent for almost 30 years now, which is quite rare. And how does that actually shape the way you think and plan for long term? Arun.
Wow, perfect question. So I'll be very candid here. So this is my 22nd year in Zoho Corporation. And so when I started, I was kind of like just with little 2 years of experience. So I had my friends who have been part of my journey since childhood. So we are schoolmates, we are college mates, and they started first in Zoho Corporation. In fact, back then it was called as AdventNet. And I took a different route. I was working for the first 2 years in a MNC bank where everything is from a short term perspective. People look at what is for this month, what is this for this week. That's how I was trained for the first 2 years. And I just followed my footsteps of my friends. And coming into Advanet was a totally a different perspective because that is when Manage Engine started. And there was no previous history or a data where you can infer or compare whether I'm doing good, great, or bad. So it's just about getting the work done because as a company, we were reinventing ourselves, we are trying new waters, experimenting a lot of things. So to me, it was totally new. Uh, but then one thing which started on day one itself was the message which was coming in from the leadership team, including the founders, where they said we wanted to build something from India to the global markets. We need a global brand coming out of India. So that was the vision, right? So we started with few products, we experimented certain things. Of course, we had some wins also. We were making few customers, and at that time itself, Sridhar used to say, we have the potential to do $1 billion revenue when we were making few $100s. So that's how it was the vision which was coming in from the top. And we built a lot of products over the period from 2004, I would say 2010 to 2012. Even we continue today also. Some products you could see you get instant results, customers buy that, and some products because of the technology investments takes time. But one thing which was coming from the top always was keep investing in R&D, keep investing in products. We are looking to build this as a company on a long term basis. You could see that happening in front of you, right? So that changed the whole perspective, right? So it's not just about short term. Whatever you do, right, you have to look at from a long term model also. And today I take care of the business operations for Europe, Asia, and ANZ markets. So the way I approach has completely changed to what it was in 2003, 2004 to in the 2020s. I look at all of my strategies from a long term perspective, right? Talk about we open up offices across the globe, right? So we hire local talent and we also move some people from India so that they go and also build the culture. Because sometimes you have to understand you won't get ready-made talent, right? So given the nature of products what Manage Engine brings, we cut across the entire IT management. We will have few expertise in some areas, but not all. So which means somebody who joins us, they are going to take a lot of time. So it's going to take at least 12 to 18 months for them to understand the complete dynamics, and then they add value to customers. So which means they need to have our trust, the confidence, and we have to be clear with them in terms of enabling them also more importantly, educating them that they also have to play this long game. So this strategies requires time. You need to invest on people. You need to invest on market. Comes with a lot of strategy decisions, which you won't see results in 2 months, 3 months, right? But at the same time, there are certain things which we also look at from a short-term, mid-term perspective, which I would say more on the execution part. The key point to this is sometimes we are all human beings, right? We do make mistakes. But you have to give them the backup, you have to give them the support, and you have to take them into confidence. As long as the intentions are good, you are responsible, we'll make you accountable, we'll also give you a lot of freedom to experiment. And because of this culture, the value, once the confidence comes in, they are also able to deliver a lot of value to the business. This is how I would see how I approach long-term perspective, even building my own team or even the partner ecosystem, because today 80-90% of our global business are driven through our channel partners, which means somebody is actually investing on us to build their business, which means you have to give them the time, you need to have the patience, you need to also invest in them, and the results are going to take time. That is how we also look at enabling and acquiring partners across the region. A lot of the strategical decisions is more from a long-term perspective. And I mean, it has gone to an extent where today, even in my personal life, outside professional, I look at things from a long-term perspective. How do I plan myself for 5 years? How do I plan myself for 10 years? Even to my own kids, right? So be it whatever profession they are, don't worry about 3 months, 6 months. Look at from long-term perspective, because it helps you to improve incrementally. You are organically growing. At the same time, you are also having a very clear clarity and vision how you wanted to position yourself and grow.
So right now you said, Arun, that you have to invest on your people. We are human beings. These are the two significant words you said right now. So if I look at businesses today, hybrid work, cloud security, it's all getting quite complex. So where does Manage Engine really step in and make life easier?
Okay. So when we started, the entire IT management was on a very different landscape. In fact, at that time, there was not many products available for small and medium businesses. Usually, they had the choice to go to open source software, which was not straightforward. IT was already lean on small and medium businesses. So we came with products which are quick to deploy, simple to use, instant gratification, value for money. That is how we started. And we were very close to customers, hearing their pain points. So we eventually scaled over a period of time. So we built so many products, and eventually we also did a lot of consolidation, making it as a unified platform. You are absolutely right. Uh, right after COVID, and also thanks to digital transformation, most of the businesses operate online today, right? Even you take the case of a bank. I have never been into a bank for the last 10 years. We do everything on the web, everything on the app. But back then, if you go back to 2003, 2004, we used to go to the bank at morning 9 o'clock, right? Things have completely changed. Even the buying patterns, the complete e-commerce is online. So we do everything. We don't even go to shops today. What does that matter for businesses are? They should be completely able to do a transformation on their business using the online model, which means they have to use a lot of cloud applications. They have to enable a lot of their employees, very distributed geographies, and more importantly, they also work with a lot of third-party contractors and gig workers. So the ecosystem has changed a lot compared to 2000, where we used to come to office, do the work, and get out. But today, we necessarily don't need to go to office. We can connect anywhere as long as you have an internet connection, you have a mobile, or you have a laptop. But the function of IT today in an enterprise world is moved away from just being supporting or enabling team to make business work and function based on these requirements. And that means you need to give a good customer experience. You need to give a good employee experience. Your employee should have access to data. And more importantly, there are a lot of regulations, compliances, which also comes into. So IT is well spread. Your data is everywhere. The complexity is also getting increased, which means you should have a very good connectivity. You should have very good controls, and more importantly, cyber security. Because if you are on continuous attacks, that hits your brand reputation and you might very well go out of business. So this complex IT also comes with difficulty in terms of managing and monitoring that. Many organizations face the challenge of using siloed approach, different tools which don't really talk with each other. And more importantly, the data flow is not seamless. Sometimes you are stuck with legacy applications. What managing is trying to do today is to build a unified IT management platform. So cut across different infrastructure. It could be cloud, or it could be on-premise, or it could be your endpoints, or it could be how IT can offer service in terms of access controls, device permissions, and everything, and also ensure a good cybersecurity posture. This is where the unified approach of having one platform, contextually integrate, add value, less time to deploy, instant gratification. These are the pain points which we try to solve for customers today. So they don't need to juggle with different applications, but they'll be able to manage this efficiently and drive a lot of analytics out of it. So they can align their IT to business and show outcomes to their decision makers and to their customers is what the pain point we are trying to solve using Manage Engine suite of products.
Okay. Now you have crossed 1 million customers globally. That's huge. That's huge, I would say. An incredible milestone. So, what do you think has driven such deep customer trust in Zoho?
Yep. So I would say the most important thing here is investing on products, R&D. I think that's one big differentiator. If you look today, the whole IT management, like you asked about, right, have completely evolved. If you take the case of one of our products called as endpoint management, it started as a desktop central product, managing laptops and desktops back in 2003, 2004. But with the arrival of Android and iOS, the modern device management, bring your own devices, that whole landscape has changed. Today, 90% of the transactions happen through the end computing devices. So that product, what started as desktop central, has evolved into a unified endpoint management and security offering from Manage Engine. I can also quote similar examples. For example, the network monitoring software. Basically, you manage the availability and performance of devices on your infrastructure, has evolved into a full stack observability platform. So this investment in terms of continuous enhancements on products, technology, embracing new developments, making it more relevant to customers is the big value proposition customers sees us as the trust. Because any technology landscape can change, but as long as the vendor or the OEM is investing in it, making it relevant for their outcomes is the value proposition customers look at, and that is what we heavily invest. In fact, more than 40-50% of what we earn, we put it back on products. And the second thing is stay very close to customers, right? So listen to their pain points, listen to their problems, and see how you'll be able to solve it. Today, if you look at, we are globally spread, have more than 30 offices, and we have regional teams. One of the main reasons being be close to the customers, understand the regional challenges, understand what are their pain points, work very closely to solve them. And we also do invest a lot in terms of workshops, seminar, conferences across the globe. If you take the average would be we do 2-3 events a day or 2-3 events a week, I would say, across the regions, being very close to customers, making technology very, very relevant by incorporating that in our products are some of the key differentiators why customers sees managing as a more credible and trustable vendor.
There's a lot of talk around AI and security these days. How do you see it? Manage Engine turning that into something practical for businesses.
Okay. So security is a big topic. The way we see security is like if you follow cricket, this is like defending each ball. You are very good as per the last ball, right? You have to prepare yourself, defend again, and as long as you are secure, security is something you can claim that like you are a trustable vendor. that is how it is today. So it is an ongoing exercise. We invest a lot when it comes to security. There's internal teams which spend a lot of time ensuring that our products, whatever we ship, are secure. And being a global company, we also have that to lot of regulations, audits, and compliance and certifications. That means we work with a lot of external vendors to ensure our security posture is correct. So these are some big investments which we make today. Go back to again 2003, 2004, right? Security was not a big topic. The priority of a product company was just to build features, develop code, ship. But today it's not like that. Security first approach is what is coming into. And privacy is another big topic. And we are very serious about being giving a commitment to privacy to our customers. And that is why we run and manage close to 20 data centers across the globe. We have never partnered with a lot of these third-party service providers, but rather we do a lot of heavy lifting. We manage the hardware, the middle layer, the framework, the databases, the applications. Everything is built by us, managed by us. The reason being, I am giving a commitment to my customer on the privacy. It's on our terms. We are not relying on any third party, right? So that is how we value security and privacy. I would say a big investment, a big push goes today. Then only comes the product development, product enhancements. So this is how we have changed the dynamics based on security and privacy. And talk about AI is another big topic. We have been invested in terms of AI over the last 10 years in terms of ML, which are part of our product capabilities. But what has changed big today is the arrival of Gen AI and the large language models. Uh, we are equally investing in terms of making AI as a framework where customers, if they have enterprise license for some of the large language models, they can bring it as part of the framework. Or we also give the provision to our customers by hosting an open source LLM, because not every business will have access to enterprise language models. Particularly small and medium businesses might not have the budgets, so we don't want them to be left behind on AI. So we give them the open source AI which they can use. And you also have to be more contextual when it comes to AI, because accuracy matters a lot here. Will you be able to take a decision based on an AI recommendation? We also build narrow models, or we call it as right sizing. So we give all these options to customers. Coming through our AI framework is the approach. We are investing in AI. And more importantly, we are not charging anything extra for this today. These are all part of capabilities in the product. And customers are using it without knowing they're using AI. It is yet another feature in the product. That is how we approach AI in terms of adoption.
Okay, Arun, I just would like to ask you one thing. You were a sports person, you were a dynamic leader. I would ask you how do you think the leaders should incorporate sports in their life too, to be a good leader like you? Let us know that.
Okay. So, I mean, the first thing I would always look at is, we all know, right? So, sports bring a lot of discipline. Uh, Time management is very important today because invariably you end up doing a lot of multitasking. So, priority sets, and you need to know how to prioritize your work. But as a leader, one important aspect I learned from sports is in today's world, particularly if you're on a leadership position, there's a lot of collaboration you need to do, right? So your business function is not just you alone. If you try to work in an organization, you have to work with multiple teams. You might need to work with product management team. You might need to work with marketing. You might need to work with support, or you might need to work with finance. You might need to work with accounting. You should be able to communicate. You should be able to collaborate. You should bring everybody into one common goal and make sure we deliver what is required, what is right for the business. This collaboration is very, 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 very critical if you wanted to be at the leadership position. I would say being in sports, active in sports, working as a team player really helped me to shape up this career. And I would also say sports gives you one important aspect where you treat both win and lose or loss in the same way, correct? You don't need to actually overreact if you win, or you don't need to feel dejected if you lose a match. you need to do a balancing. You have to just look at, like, okay, look, so what went right and what went wrong? How can I fix those problems? And how can I put myself better in the next match and be more competitive? And that is how I approach the work also. If something is not right, let's not worry too much, learn from the mistake and make sure we do it correctly. And if something is working really good, how can I amplify, how can I collaborate, or some of the aspects I look at from sports. And that kind of really helps when you're in a leadership position, because you need to work with multiple teams, more importantly human beings, collaborate a lot. There will be difference of opinion, but how are you going to align to a common goal is what the approach I take.
And before we wrap up, Arun, is there something you'd like to share, maybe for young professionals or companies trying to navigate this fast changing digital space?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of young people we recruit today, right? So fresh out of college, this is the first thing I say to them. If you are serious about your professional career, understand one thing: you have to work for next 30 years or 40 years, and who knows, probably half of your life you will end up working, which means it's going to be a very integral part of your career. So you have to ensure you pick and choose, you pick up the right job, or you have to make sure whatever opportunity which comes to you, make it more interesting for you. And two is, given that you are going to play this game for 40 years, uh, you have to also understand you have to pace this accordingly. In today's generation, a lot of expectations are, I want instant gratification. Can I grow in 2 years? Can I become a manager in 3 years? Expectations are very high, which is perfectly fine. But we also need to understand companies make mistakes, managers makes mistakes. We are all, again, at the end of the day, human beings. What you have to look at is, are you learning? Are you enjoying? Uh, are you happy coming to office on Monday morning with a smile in your face? And keep that learning going. Sometimes results will come to you, sometimes it might not. We will make all mistakes. So let's not worry too much about it. But as long as you're growing, as long as you're able to add value, as long as you're enjoying, don't worry about the rest. At 30 or 40 or 50, you will get into a very senior position. That is how you should look at. I mean, I also take the example of, because I also enjoy farming, I do it as a hobby. I maintain a small farm. uh, Take the case of, like, if you are growing a mango orchard or a coconut one, the first 5 to 7 years you're not going to get anything. It's going to be more of investments, right? uh, it's going to be just spent. You're not going to see any returns, and the actual results come only after 8 years or 10 years. Even there is no absolute guarantee, because a lot of external factors comes in. Sometimes you will have flooding, sometimes you will have drought, sometimes you will have a lot of pesticides coming in. So these are all challenges which you cannot control. But as a farmer, what you do, you continuously enrich the soil, you feed water, you take care of the plants, you give fertilizers, ensure the plant is healthy, with the hope that once it starts giving results, it gives you good amount of returns. That is the same way you approach the work also. Keep that focus going on, enjoy, learn, contribute more, success will come to you. Let's not worry about instant gratification, is what one big recommendation I would give. And more importantly, make your work more fun. If you enjoy that, nothing like that.
Okay. Arun, really enjoyed this conversation with you. Barsha thanks you on behalf of Editorial Age. Thanks for your time and for sharing your thoughts. Wishing you and everyone at Zoho and Manage Engine all the very best ahead. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time. Thank you, Arun, once again.
Oh, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much.